question, I would like to get an answer from both of y'all. I guess I'm gonna let Amar go first.
Okay.
What feedback did you get after doing this drama reenactment and the drama? After doing that, what feedback did you hear initially?
Initially,
what were your thoughts? Yeah, on that.
Initially, and this was something that was so unique. I don't think either of us had ever done anything close to it. After that first show, we got a resounding yes. People were very bought into the idea of this presentation needing to be in all the schools, all of the prisons, youth detention centers, and churches, community centers, and the list goes on and on. We didn't know what to expect. We went out there. We had spent a few weeks, actually probably a few months, crafting this presentation in a way that felt authentic to us, without a whole lot of outside input. We just really, the heart of it was to share our story. We got off stage and there 400 people, I'll never forget, 400 people were in that audience, and you could hear the sniffling, you could hear the crying, and you could hear the tears while presenting. And even during the Q&A, we moved so many people to an emotional state that I don't think either of us could have anticipated.
Yeah.
We knew we had something when, grown men, people we know and love, and even strangers, grown men and women who couldn't keep themselves together because they hit that emotional peak of, we touched on something that just wasn't being talked about. And I think that was all of the validation we needed to get to this point.
Yeah. And I could,
before I get to you, Coley, I just thought about it. In case somebody want to get with y'all, what's a good email for this? I'm gonna type it in as you talking. What's the email? Like if somebody would like to, get y'all to do the play or whatever, what's the email or what's a good contact that they can contact y'all? Because this need to go out. This information, this would you call it drama? What did you call it, Coley?
It's drama. Our work is drama therapy based.
Drama therapy based. Okay. Yeah. This need to go out, man. It's some HBCUs. It's some places that can use this, even within some facilities. But go ahead, give me, is it the Out of the Ashes email? What email would be a good contact for them to reach?
If anybody wants to contact us, info@outoftheashesllc.com.
Got you. Go ahead, Coley. You had something for us.
Yeah, I'm just going to add on that. When we did, after we did that first presentation, and the impact from, so we prior, I think it was prior to doing the presentation, we had went around and we were speaking with different ones and clergy and various different races in the city of Wilmington, and it was they all showed up. It was amazing. It was not amazing, but it was eye-opening to me to see how many of the clergy in the city of Wilmington had grown up without a father. So we were talking about the stories. They would share their stories of it, and it wasn't around, I can't remember if any of them were particularly around parental incarceration, but it was still, that absence of not having a father, their death, substance use. It was a couple of different situations, and it was amazing to me how many people just connected with our issue, connected with that parental separation, even though it was though they weren't always due to incarceration.
Right. Listen, it's a powerful word. I watched the video and you gave me a powerful word. Not going to say I never heard it before, but this was a powerful word. Let me get it right. This I knew it is for me. I got to pronounce it right. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Indomitable. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
So real quick, and then I'm gonna give you the mic back. I'm gonna let you know where you already know where it came from, but let me just show. And this is your son interviewing you or talking to you.
Bigger than us.
Out of the Ashes is a worldwide force to be reckoned with. And by that I mean, when you look at us, when you hear the relationship between a father and a son, or any parent and a child, but I'm focusing on fathers and sons because of our particular situation. create a formidable force. And when you reconcile fathers and sons in communities collectively, you create an indomitable force. And by that I mean this force cannot be overtaken in the community or anywhere in the world. It's a matter of restoring order. It's a matter of restoring relationships, healing relationships in our community. When we start to do that, everything else will fall into place. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else in the world can do what we need to do. And that's bringing us, our families, our community, and our people out of the ashes. And when we do that, the whole world can change. And you can take that one to the bank, bro.
Take that one to the bank.
To the bank. For real. You remember that day, Coley?
Yeah, I do. I remember that
Hey,
day.
Amar, the screen. Tell Amar
He
the
got it.
screen. Okay. But go ahead.
In our work, as we started progressing in our work, we, began to capture different moments through video and what have you. And that particular clip, we were talking about the importance of relationships between fathers and sons, and how you could, again, you can create an indomitable force. It's the relationship. The building. What it really speaks to is building a transformative relationship. When people have relationships where they can share, hear, and be heard, and it can change or motivate behavior, that's a transformative relationship. Particularly in a, positive way, positively transformative relationship. And that's the crux of what I was getting at when you're talking about fathers and sons. These people who traditionally care about each other, have love, care, and concern, hopefully gain some understanding for one another and have a common interest. The father wants to see the best out of their child, and the child wants to hopefully live up to and self-actualize, being the best person they can be, in a situation, in their life. So we big on that. Yep.
Good stuff. I do want to ask you about some other stuff you're doing. We're going to continue to talk about Out of the Ashes, but you're doing so much, man. We can't cover it in one interview. That's how much I feel like you're doing. Tell us some of the other work, whether it's at UD, but just share some of the other work you're doing.
Yeah.
In the community.
Yeah. Well, so we have a not-for-profit called Delaware Family Restoration Services, which provide a variety of services and supports for children and families in Delaware. Summer camp, after school programming, so on and so forth. Literacy programming. I do some research with the University of Delaware around participatory action research, around looking at violence and other correlators. Primarily in Delaware with Street PAR, under the auspices and under the umbrella of Dr. Yasser Payne, the University of Delaware. Our most recent project, we did a 5-city gun violence research project in Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and Detroit. There was another site that got shut down, but it ended up being 4 sites.
Okay.
And besides that, besides with Out of the Ashes and Delaware Family Restoration Services, that's pretty much where a lot of my time and energy.
Okay. So I gotta ask you this. It froze for a minute, but I guess it'll come back in a minute. It froze up once. Okay, there you go. I gotta ask you this, man. And before you answer it, my question is, what does brotherhood, friendship? I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking that. What does brotherhood, friendship, and all that means to you? Because just knowing you, it's people that you have been friends with for like 40 years. So explain that brotherhood, friendship, loyalty, and whatever that means to you.
They all kindred to me. Brotherhood, friendship, loyalty. They kind of all go into the same, in the same stew, if you will. brotherhood, just being a brother to somebody, wanting for somebody, wanting for your brother, you know what I mean, wanting for somebody what you want for yourself. You know what I mean, caring, protecting for each other, having loyalty to one another, challenging each other to grow and to be the best version of themselves.
That's some good stuff. Loving it, loving it. And to me, hearing it,
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
As you know, I have, a lot of my friends are friends that I have, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, we unfortunately, most of us have been through the prison system at some point in time and had some experience with that. And then we also, fortunately, we all have grown. I feel as though we've all grown through that process. Prison isn't the prison was the catalyst. It wasn't the only catalyst that could have brought us to this, this period of growth and revelation or what have you, but it was the catalyst for many of us.
Okay. What's your next move for you, your son, out of the ashes? What's some of your next moves?
We're launching workshop series across the world for the work that we do with Out of the Ashes. We've found the opportunities for people are really an appetite for the work that we do in a lot of different sectors, and we're exploring that and building that out, seeing how we can help communities like ours in Wilmington, Delaware, and other places across the world.
Amar,
Yes,
this question is for you. At your age now, are you seeing some of the stuff play out like it played out in your life and some of your peers? The situation where the dad may be gone or he may be in prison. And when I say gone, I'm talking about gone. So are you seeing that among some of your peers?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm seeing it in a variety of ways. I think that there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of pushing the value of fatherhood across social media, within interpersonal relationships. I think there's a lot of work to be done. But I will also say that in some aspect, I do feel that social media has helped pressure people in or educate people. I don't even want to say pressure, but there's an education component around being an active and visible father. I will say that I know people who live a variety of lifestyles, some would agree with, a lot that people wouldn't agree with. But I will say that I do scroll through Instagram just like anybody else, and I can see these guys spending time with their children.
That's what's up.
Would you
say that this whole situation and relationship with your dad and even producing Out of the Ashes has helped you as a father? And you're married also, right?
Yes, sir.
And as a husband. So my question is, do you think this experience with your dad has helped you as a father, and a husband, and as a man?
Yeah, absolutely. My relationship and experience with my father has 1000% impacted the trajectory of my life. Growing up without him was not ideal in any way, shape, or fashion, but it did give me a level of resiliency, and it also really instilled in me the importance of fatherhood and just being a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Coley, you have always been a leader, right? It's one thing that I remember about you, and then you get kind of, you make clear, because sometimes, our memories get, it can be blurred a little bit. But from my memory, I think you was part of a reason. This is in Virginia. I think y'all got sent down Virginia from Delaware due to overcrowding. Am I correct? You got sent to Virginia, to the state of Virginia from Delaware due to overcrowding, right? You freezing up. You freezing up again.
Yeah, we came back. I didn't catch what was the last part of that question?
Okay. No, I want to say this, then let me ask the question though. you were shipped to Virginia from Delaware due to overcrowding, correct?
Yes.
Okay, my question is, because I remember it, but my memory can be blurred. You started a newspaper, right? And you would accept articles from individuals within that system. Does my memory serve me correctly?
Yeah, we had an underground,
Yeah,
we had an
right.
underground,
Underground,
newspaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
crazy because
yeah.
I honestly that had faded back in my mind, man. Yeah, we created a because I in Smyrna I used to, before we got shipped out, I created no, I didn't create anything. I was a part of a prison newspaper, you know,
Right,
and I was
right.
on there. I was a
The isthmus.
contributing writer in there. Yeah, the Isthmus, contributing writer there on that for that paper. You know, exploring. And then when we got down there, we created a newsletter. It's bringing in articles. Excuse me, not bringing in articles, but accepting articles from different people and sharing. You know, sharing information out. Yeah.
So one of the things that I remember, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was a speech. I don't know how it went down, but I remember a kind of a short speech, not really a speech, but some encouraging words that you stated, man. Listen, man, because we had Christian brothers, we had Muslim brothers, we had 5%ers, you know, people of different faiths. And your thing, listen, man, it don't matter what religion you is, because actually religion kind of separate us in most instances.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah. I mean, I live by that. I agree with that. My thing is I have my faith in what I believe and what I try to practice to the best of my ability. But I understand that individuals have different pathways to how they connect with God. And that, you know, I don't judge people based on that. I allow people to live and self-actualize and to grow as a human being. And I like to talk to and communicate and with various different people from, all different type of walks of life. So I live by that. Yep.
So just understand your work ain't in vain. And sometimes that's why I tell people, even working with the youth, you know, a lot of times they don't listen, but we can't judge by that moment because they might not be able to receive that. I remember when I was young, older people used to try to tell me stuff. I was storing it. I didn't know I was storing it, but I wasn't prepared mentally, emotionally to deal with that information. I wasn't ready because I was stuck where I was at. So dealing with young people, what would be your words to some young people, knowing that they may not listen right now? So how do you judge whether you're effective or not when you're talking to them and they continue to do the stuff that you're telling them not to do, or you showing them as clear as day, listen, man, this can happen? What's your words for the young folks?
My word for them is listen to their life. That's kind of like my thing. Listen to your life. And if whatever you're experiencing in your life, if you're experiencing things to your life and it is bringing you happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment, or whatever, listen to your life. If it's bringing you death, incarceration, you know what I mean, loss, listen to your life, and whatever, whatever direction that takes you in, then let it be. You know what I mean? I believe that most people want to live a happy, peaceful, and fulfilling life. I believe that. In regards to people, young people or anybody not listening to me, I know that everybody has to go through their own process.
Okay. Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. You stuck one more time.
Every lesson. I'm not saying that everybody has to learn every lesson, but I'm saying that individuals have to go through their own experiences. And I don't take it personally. I know that this child or this young person or my own, you know what I mean, has to go through their own process. My responsibility is to continue to guide them throughout, continue to be a resource and a source of positive, positive, healthy adult interaction for young people, and to be there for them, when they come back around, if they go off the rails, be there for them when they come back around to try to help and guide them in the scope of what I can and I'm willing to do. at a particular time, because it doesn't always stay the same.
Right.
It doesn't always stay the same. You can't, what I mean. I'm not the kids. What I mean. I don't want to say like their mother. What I mean, with just unconditional love. Whatever you do, I'm going. Nah, it's not like that. I'm going to help and guide you, and at different times, it might be different levels of guides and different level of support. With my, yeah. That's about it. Just understanding, let them listen to their life and allow for individuals to have space to experience life and to grow. And that includes falling. That includes making mistakes. That includes achieving great things. If that would what they would have.
Okay, Amar, what would you say to a 16-year-old, right? That's doing life. How they say life be lifing. What would you say to your average 16-year-old that's maybe at the crossroad, about to make some bad, choices and decisions in their life? What would you say to that 16-year-old?
The biggest piece of advice I would be is to get a second opinion. Talk to people who have different perspectives than you in life. At 16, it's very easy to think that you have the world figured out. And if you live long enough, you'll find out that you don't really, know some things, but you don't really know much. And just talk to people. You can get guidance from almost anybody who can give you a different perspective on a situation, and it could help you make better decisions and or save your life.
Very good. Very good. This is my thing. And this is a reality in the hood and some of our hoods and ghettos and urban communities. We always see on TV or whatever, a child may have been murdered, right? And we go through the normal things. They come out with the shirts, RIP, he was a real one. And the mom or the parents are going to be crying. Why they do that to my baby, this and that, put down the guns, right? And then a week later or the month later, everything back to normal. And what I mean by normal is in some of our communities, right? We have accepted some, I'm not going to say communities, in some of our hoods, we have accepted some things that I deem as damaging to our community, right? So this cycle is going to continue. This cycle is going to continue until we deal with or address some of these ills. And I don't know if y'all understand what I'm trying to say, but if the gang culture is a part of our community, right? Within the gang culture, you know how it go down. Every now and then we got to lay some people down, or whatever that culture, entails. But what I'm saying, we got too many things within our community it's going to happen. It's going to go down. So how do we deal with that? And on one hand, we saying we got to stop the violence, this and that. How do we really deal with this stuff when we're allowing stuff in our community that's detrimental to our community? Help me out, Coley.
Yeah, well, I'll start off first by saying that through my experience as being a research associate with the Street PAR, I am understanding that the things that happen in our community are not just things that unfold by the agency and the will and the power of the people in the community. I believe wholeheartedly in a theory called structural violence theory. It was purported back in I want to say I can't remember the year, but it was a researcher by the name of Gao Tung over in Europe, and it basically the theory, and what was found through the research is that when you block opportunities from people, then violence, physical, what they call structural violence, and blocking opportunities from individuals leads to physical violence. So when you have communities that are in poverty, we have communities that have poor educational systems, health systems, poor and not good governance, amongst other things, discrimination in housing and so on and so forth. It is not surprising to me that we see the type of violence that we have going on in our communities. So the first thing is, coming from that perspective, I understand that it is not the wholehearted responsibility of the individuals in the community that are creating these conditions for this. That's the first thing. The second part I would say to that is our communities have been deeply indoctrinated, I would say, because it wasn't always this way. Deeply indoctrinated with this nihilism and this, self-negating behaviors and activities around, whether it's gang violence, whether it's whatever, whatever the negative stuff that we see going on in some of our communities, particularly I'm speaking urban communities and Black communities. There's definitely some transformation that needs to take place in our communities, and that's a lot of the work. A lot of work that we do. We do work to help mitigate what's going on, and most of the programs do. Mitigate the harm that's happening in the communities. But I think we need to continue to do more transformative programming, transformative work that helps an individual to actually come out of the state that they're in and the mindset that they're in that's keeping them trapped in some of these communities. Cultures, cultures of violence, whatever they might be, that perpetuate the violence and the behaviors that's going on inside of our communities. That's part of the reason why we do the work that we do, and our work has evolved, to really help to deal with some of these complex problems, because it's not easy. It's not easy. There's no easy, by no stretch of the imagination are there easy problems going on in the Black community. They're not easy to deal with or to change. But I think that we need to continue to build on the work. I think we need to continue to collaborate and work together and build transformative programs and layers of support that help young people to become stronger, more resilient in the environments that they're in, to be able to find some solace and some solace and some refuge from that space, with adults also working courageously to deal with the challenges that we see going on in our communities.
Okay. Coley, Coley, I see the work that you're doing, as well as with you and your son, Out of the Ashes, and just your work as a whole is bigger than Delaware. It's bigger than the tri-state area. And I know you had spoke about some seminars and workshops that you got coming up. How can somebody get involved with that? And how soon are we talking about the workshops and all that?
Well, to get involved, Amar provided the email. We provided again info at outoftheashesllc.com.
Gotcha.
You can also go to our website, outoftheashesllc.com, and fill out an information form. You can also see some of the stuff and some of the work that we do there. But we're live. We're live with our series of workshops that we are sharing out. One in particular that's resonating with people is around an issue called crashing out, which is youth behavior in crisis. We use the word very cavalierly in society nowadays, but not a lot of analysis and not a lot of analysis is going into really looking at the behaviors, and particularly the manifestation of it on the most severe end of what crashing out can be. So that's one of our workshops that's resonating with people well. Another one, new one that we launched, is called Who's Coming Home? And this is a workshop around re-entry and looking and unpacking the new person, if you will, that's coming home to deal with and reconcile with his environment, families, relationships, so on and so forth. And that's just to name a few. We have Out of the Ashes, which is our signature presentation around parental incarceration, with a drama therapy presentation attached to that, and workshops and other groups, youth groups with that as well. So we're working, we're busy, and we're staying innovative and creative in the work that we do, to be able to continue just to be able to deal with a host of problems that we're seeing in our community. Let me say this too, deal with these problems or address these problems, a host of these problems, these issues that we're seeing in the community, to deal with them in a culturally relevant way. And that by that, I don't mean racially. I mean being able to deal with a population of people or creating tools that are relevant to a population of people from their own lived experience, whatever that lived experience may be.
Very good, man. Thank you, man. You gave us a lot to eat on and to chew on. But I know throughout this interview, you had named some people that were instrumental in your life. I would like you to take the time and do this now, so we'll have it again on record. Those who helped you out, Coley, and becoming the man that you are today.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who helped me, and just you talk. I'm from the inside. First of all, my family, my mother, my father, my family, my son. And my friends, you know what I mean? My friends, my true friends and supporters, you know what I mean, have been sources of inspiration, sources of support, and sources of kind of impetus to change and do better. Definitely. Inside the prison, there was 3 men that had probably the most significant impact on my life. And they, a man by the name of Edward Fountain, a man by the name of Tyre Uhuru, and a man by the name of Kenny Rogers. These individuals, I credit them with being part of the reason to save my life. You know,
that's good stuff.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. And there's some people you're working with now in the community that also, if you can share them, there's a few people that you mentioned earlier.
Oh, well, in the community, Dr. Yasser Payne, University of Delaware, working with him. And besides my son, you know, I mean, I would say Michael Bartley. We work with some of the different agencies in the community, Tali Nichols. You know, I mean, these are guys, Khalil Abdul Rashid, these are individuals. And, you know, I mean, it's a host of other brothers that I work with, but these are some of the ones most closest to me. And we're doing closest to me and closest to helping with this work. Nico and Rico Stratton and Stratton Bay from down in Dover, some other brothers. So
I know your brother Wolfie doing some good stuff out there too as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But man, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank you, Coley, man. I want to thank you, Amar, for this opportunity, man. I don't take it lightly. I appreciate. I did the call. I called for help. I said, help. And y'all came to my rescue, man. I know y'all time is valuable, but like I said, man, thank y'all for this opportunity. And I know that this will be give value to others. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into small clips, and you'll be seeing me put some stuff out.
All right, bro.
Thank y'all again.
Thanks for having us, brother.
Any closing comments or thoughts or anything?
Now, I mean, I would say, man, this is, you know, I mean, a testament, man, just a testament, man, to the transformation of men. Because me and you know, I mean, we go way back, you know, what I'm saying, way back.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, like I told Amar, you know, it was a blessing hearing from you. You know, I said, we got to do this interview. He's one, you know, I mean, one of the, you know, I count you amongst one of the, you know, I mean, the solid, good brothers.
Wow. Appreciate that.
And doing. Yeah. Being consistent, man, and doing the work, man, and being positive, man. So thank you for what you do. Any way we can help and support, man, we here, brother.
Love you, man. Love y'all. Y'all continue to do what you're doing, because you don't know how many people you helping, man. Thanks again, man. May God continue, the Most High. I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. You know, so right now I'm just spiritual, and I do believe and trust in the Most High. But I hope that He, you know, continue to bless y'all and your family.
You as
Thanks
well,
again.
Man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
You're welcome. Y'all have a good day. Peace.
You too.